Have you noticed that you can watch hours of AWS tutorials, but when you open the console, everything still feels unfamiliar? Watching tutorials feels productive. You hear explanations. You understand the words. Everything sounds logical. But when you try to explain AWS in your own words or use it on your own, nothing sticks. Why is that? It's because AWS is not a theoretical skill. It's a practical system you interact with. It's like trying to learn how to swim by reading books about swimming. You can understand the theory of buoyancy and how to move your arms, but until you get in the water, you don't really know how to swim. When you finally open the AWS console, it's overwhelming. You see too many services, too many buttons, and far too many choices. This is where the frustration starts. You feel like you should understand this because you've watched the videos, but you don't. This feeling is completely normal. Watching tutorials is a passive activity. Your brain is not forced to make decisions or solve problems. It's just absorbing information, but not necessarily internalizing it. Practice, on the other hand, forces you to think, where do I click next? What happens if I choose this option instead of that one? What breaks if I get this wrong? These are the questions that build real knowledge. You remember your mistakes much more vividly than you remember a smooth explanation. That's how real, deep understanding forms. It's the struggle, the problem solving, and the aha moments that come from fixing something you broke. Fear also shows up because AWS is real. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are real resources with real consequences, and yes, real billing. The fear of getting a surprise bill is a common barrier for beginners, but this fear is normal. It doesn't mean you're slow or not technical enough, or that cloud computing isn't for you. It's a natural response to working with a powerful and complex tool. The key is to manage this fear, not let it paralyze you. You don't need to start with big, complex projects. In fact, you shouldn't. Even the smallest actions matter a great deal. The learning happens in a simple cycle. Create, check, delete. Create something small, like an S3 bucket or a basic EC2 instance. Check what it did. Look at the properties, the settings, the related resources. Then, and this is the important part, delete it. This simple loop teaches you more than hours of passive watching. It builds muscle memory. It connects the concepts from the tutorials to the actual interface. This is when AWS starts to click. It's when the services stop being abstract names and start being tools you've actually used. Confidence doesn't come from knowing the definitions of all 200 plus services. It comes from the quiet assurance that you can navigate the system, figure things out, and fix your own mistakes. AWS only starts to make sense when you practice, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. So close the video tutorial for a moment, open the console, and build something small. Then tear it down. That is the path to truly understanding the cloud.